Welcome.
To be here.
Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey, thanks to the sources you've shared. We're diving deep into the story of a journalist who didn't just adapt to modern media.
No, he really reshaped it.
Exactly. Michael Barbaro, the voice, behind the New York Times big flagship podcast.
That's right.
Think of this as your kind of backstage pass to understanding how one person's vision really redefined how millions get their news every day. Okay, let's unpack this. We'll look at his path, from print reporter to, a pioneering audio journalist. And we want to pull out those key insights that explain not just what he did, but how he managed to become such a distinctive, influential voice.
Yeah.
So get ready for a shortcut to really understanding his pretty remarkable impact.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that it's not just a simple success story. It's really a masterclass in adaptability and narrative craft.
Right.
And connecting with an audience on a deeply personal level.
Barbaro's career, it's an incredibly instructive narrative for anyone navigating this, evolving media landscape, whether you're in journalism, podcasting.
Or just interested in how people communicate effectively.
Exactly. So our deep dive today, it should hopefully reveal some of those aha moments behind his switch, from traditional print to basically spearheading this revolution in audio news. We'll trace his trajectory, starting with those maybe subtle early ambitions, going through the crucial career steps at the Washington Post, the New York Times, and really dissecting the innovative thinking that led to the Daily itself, that phenomenon.
So to really get Michael Barbaro, we kind of started at the beginning, right? Trace those formative years.
Yeah, gotta go back.
He grew up in Connecticut. And the sources show, even from a young age, there's this clear intellectual curiosity. An early drive for journalism was taking root.
It wasn't just casual reading.
No, it was more about understanding the mechanisms behind the news. You can almost see the gears turning, sort of hinting at the kind of journalist he'd become. Someone really dedicated not just to reporting facts, but, unearthing the story behind them.
Absolutely. And that early drive, it wasn't just like a passing interest. It was actively honed during his time at Yale.
Right. Yale was key.
His time there was pivotal, especially his leadership role at the Yale Daily News.
Which is no small thing.
Not at all. It wasn't just a student paper. It was, a rigorous training ground. I mean, imagine the pressure, daily deadlines, managing staff, covering campus, local politics. It forces you to develop a really keen editorial eye, to prioritize, to craft compelling narratives fast. So that period was, I think, instrumental in shaping what would become his distinctive approach to news, that focus on the human element, the narrative arc.
Not just the headlines.
Exactly. Not just the surface level facts. It was a foundational development of his unique journalistic voice.
So with that foundation kind of locked in, his professional journey really kicks off. First up, the Washington Post.
Right. A major league paper.
An incredible proving ground for any young journalist, really. During his years there, he basically entered the crucible of professional reporting.
Yeah.
Developing those essential skills, meticulous fact-checking, investigative techniques, working under intense deadline pressure in a big newsroom.
Learning the ropes, really.
He learned how to dig, how to verify, how to condense complex stuff into clear, concise stories.
And then his move to the New York Times, that marked a pretty significant evolution, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely. A step up, different challenges.
Yeah. And once there, he covered this diverse range of key beats. Maytail, for instance.
Which sounds maybe a bit dry, but...
Right. But surprisingly, it teaches you a lot about, consumer psychology, economic trends.
Sure.
Then the gritty realities of City Hall politics, learning to navigate those complex power structures. But it was his work covering national politics, especially his... what the sources call his legendary 2016 election coverage.
Yeah, that really stood out.
That truly put his unique reporting prowess on display. He wasn't just, reporting campaign rallies.
Right.
He was consistently finding the underlying narratives, the unexpected angles, the human stories that kind of illuminated the broader political landscape.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, that impactful, narrative-driven political coverage seems like it naturally laid the groundwork for his audio pivot.
Absolutely. He already had the skills to craft a compelling political story. The next logical step was finding a new medium for it.
And that deep engagement with political narratives, yeah, it laid perfect groundwork for a new venture.
Yeah.
His first real jump into audio with the Run-Up podcast.
Yes, the run-up.
This was a significant shift, especially because it focused specifically on election podcasting, which, I mean, back then was pretty innovative.
It really was. Not many were doing that, not in that way.
It offered something traditional news outlets weren't, really. A focused narrative deep dive into the election cycle, delivered with this intimacy.
Yeah, that's a good word.
That allowed listeners to feel like they were almost part of the conversation. It was kind of a precursor, maybe, to the immersive storytelling that would define his next big thing.
The run-up was definitely a brilliant experiment, you could say. But The Daily, I mean, that truly revolutionized the landscape.
Oh, completely.
Its launch in 2017, its rapid growth to, millions of daily listeners. It's just a testament to its genuinely groundbreaking format.
Yeah.
And consider the anecdotes around its creation. It was born out of this demand for, deeply contextualized news in a really tumultuous political time. And Barbaro wasn't just hired to be the voice, right? He was integral in shaping its distinctive sound, its structure.
So what made it so groundbreaking? Was it just the daily rhythm?
Well, that was part of it, but it was more the almost cinematic approach to audio.
Cinematic?
Yeah.
How so?
Think about the deliberate sound design, that iconic opening theme, The crisp field recordings, the strategic use of silence sometimes to heighten drama or emphasize a point.
Right, the pauses.
Yeah. These weren't just little flourishes, they were tools to pull listeners into the story, creating this immersive experience that, frankly, traditional radio news rarely achieved. The Daily basically distilled the day's most complex story into a single cohesive narrative arc. It acted like a sense-making machine for an audience just drowning in information.
A sense-making machine, I like that.
And that curated clarity, combined with Barbaro's unique delivery, made complex topics feel accessible and deeply engaging. It proved audio could be a primary source for understanding the news, not just, a supplement.
That's a really crucial point, that sense-making machine aspect, because what truly makes Barbaro stand out, I think, above all else, is his signature way of interviewing.
The interviews.
He has this incredible reputation for conducting what people often call sharp, insightful, and emotional interviews. When you listen, you really feel the depth, the connection he makes.
Yeah, you do.
So, from your perspective, what exactly is it about his style that makes it so uniquely compelling? Why does it resonate so much with us, the listeners?
Well, it's truly a masterclass in the art of conversation, not just interrogation.
Oh.
Beyond just asking why or what does it mean, which he does effectively. It's how he delivers those questions, often with a slight hesitation maybe, or a gentle prodding tone.
Creating a space.
Exactly, creating this almost confessional space.
Yeah.
He doesn't just ask a question, he probes to find the question that peels back the layers, gets to the heart of it.
Can you think of an example?
Sure. In an interview on some sensitive political issue, his follow-up to a politician's maybe canned response wasn't confrontational. It might be disarmingly simple, but what did that feel like in the room?
Ah, the feeling.
Yeah, that subtle shift often opens up a floodgate of genuine emotion, real insight.
Yeah.
He has this remarkable ability to put guests at ease, which is just critical for building trust.
How does he do that? Is it just his tone?
It often starts even before the mic is on, apparently. Careful pre-interview rapport, setting a tone of genuine curiosity, of empathy. By creating that safe, empathetic space, guests feel comfortable sharing more candidly, often more emotionally. And this transparency, it isn't just a byproduct. It feels like a deliberate technique.
Right.
It allows for a level of depth and empathy that's pretty rare in daily news, and that connects with the audience on a really human level. It's about active, almost surgical listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak.
That level of, intentionality in his interviewing style definitely comes through when you listen. And when we talk about influence, wow, it's hard to overstate the ways the Daily has changed things.
For sure.
It's not just that it was a successful podcast. It fundamentally shifted how audiences engage with news and the delivery of news itself. It made these complex topics not just understandable, but genuinely engaging, accessible to millions who maybe wouldn't have dug into those stories otherwise.
And other news organizations, print, audio, they absolutely took notice. They started adapting their own strategies. You saw a lot of imitators, or at least shows inspired by it.
Definitely.
And this profound impact, it's reinforced by the show's numerous accolades. Multiple DuPont Columbia Awards,
Right.
which are like the Pulitzers of broadcast
How
journalism.
big ones?
And its constant presence on, top podcast lists. Barbaro himself has achieved this kind of celebrity status. His voice is instantly recognizable.
It really is. Almost a comforting presence for many people's mornings.
Yeah. And what's truly significant is the public reaction to that voice. His evident empathy, the transparency he brings. These aren't superficial things. They've genuinely resonated, especially with a new generation of news consumers.
How so?
Well, he fostered a sense of intimacy, of directness, that kind of broke down the traditional, often distant barrier between the reporter and the listener. It set a new expectation, maybe, that news could be both deeply informative and emotionally resonant, like a personal conversation rather than just a lecture from on high.
Here's where it gets really interesting. When you think about The Daily, what specific interviews or moments really stick out for you? Those instances that really exemplify Barbaro's unique approach. Maybe a moment where he asked that perfect question, or where a guest revealed something truly unexpected that just changed how you saw a story.
Yeah.
I remember one episode, I think it was on the opioid crisis, and his quiet, almost reverent tone when speaking to a grieving family member just amplified the tragedy. It's often those individual moments, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Those moments solidify the style. For me, one that always comes back is his handling of an episode. I'm blanking on the exact topic, but maybe interviewing a high-ranking official after a big policy reversal.
Okay.
Instead of just hammering on the why of the policy, he paused and he asked something like, "What's the human cost you've considered in this decision?"
Wow.
Yeah, but not accusatory. Deeply probing. And you could almost hear the official sort of physically shift, It forced this moment of genuine reflection. It pulled the listener past the political maneuvering, right, to the actual human impact. And that's Barbaro's genius, I think, taking a complex issue and distilling it down to its most human, most relatable core.
Connection is the pathway to understanding.
Exactly. He gets that connection as the pathway to understanding.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's think about Michael Barbaro's enduring legacy. His remarkable career, his profound influence. There's so many takeaways here.
For sure.
For any aspiring journalist, podcaster, or heck, any communicator trying to connect with an audience, his journey, from dedicated print guy to audio pioneer, and especially his distinct interviewing methods, they offer really practical lessons, don't they, on how to build trust, tell a compelling story, foster genuine engagement.
Absolutely.
So what does this all mean for us as consumers and creators of information?
Well, this raises an important question. Michael Barbaro didn't just report the news. He fundamentally changed how a generation, maybe more, understands and engages with it.
Right.
He promoted a different kind of critical thinking, one maybe rooted more in narrative and empathy.
Interesting.
The intimate daily format that he and the Daily pioneered hasn't just deepened public understanding of complex stuff, but it's also subtly shifted our expectations.
Yeah.
We now kind of expect an emotional connection, transparency from news sources.
We expect a story.
We expect a story, a narrative arc, a human voice in our daily updates. So you have to consider how this has impacted the future of traditional media, pushing them to adopt maybe more personal, less formal approaches. And for you listening now, how can you apply these insights, this quest for curated clarity and human connection? How can you use that to better consume or maybe even create information in this world of just constant updates without feeling totally overwhelmed?
Yeah.
It's maybe about seeking out that deeper narrative, that empathetic connection every single day, and maybe demanding it from the sources you choose to trust.